Yo, what's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here, and we are live doing a Silent Hill 2 remake gameplay and news breakdown. I'm glistening today, okay? Yeah, so I'm very excited for this. I've kind of wanted to do this for a little bit, and I wanted to jump in and do like some more coverage. So, let me pull up a few things because we're going to look at a number of articles. We're going to analyze some Silent Hill 2 remake gameplay trailers. So we have a lot of footage to look at. If you have anything you want to share, like if you have more trailers or articles or something related to the Silent Hill 2 remake that you would like me to take a look at, if you have like interviews that you found somewhere. But the first one that I have is, I'll pull it up right here. But this is actually from Famitsu.com, which it's entirely in Japanese. So I have it translated here, and this is going to give us a little bit of background before we start actually digging in and watching the trailers and stuff. I think we need to be up to date. So even though I saw and covered the latest Silent Hill transmission video, we did a live stream on that, and it was cool. I kind of want to go back with those new eyes, the fresh eyes of knowing all the things we've seen, and go back and look at everything and see if we don't come back with some more information there that's very interesting. But first, we'll kind of skim through the interesting parts of this article here, because they sat down with some people that worked on the game. So, Silent Hill 2 interview with P. Okamoto, a remake that values the originality as much as possible. Together with the original version staff, that's very true, we decide not to change for the sake of fans. So yeah, they'll get into some details here of like, hey, we decided to change this because of this, or hey, we decided, this feature could not change because of, this, right? So let's dig in. Hajime Okamoto, a series producer who rebooted the Silent Hill series. His thoughts on the remake version of Silent Hill 2, as well as the details of the system he has carefully refined, okay? He joined Konami in 2019, aiming to revive the entire Silent Hill series as a series producer. So yeah, we saw him talking about the trailer. Dig it. Awesome. Cool. So, let's see. Identity of Silent Hill. New information about the remake version of Silent Hill 2 has been announced, and now that the release date has been decided, we've received a lot of feedback from fans around the world. Mr. Okamoto, how did you respond to these comments? He says he's happy. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, just so we don't spend like 30 minutes reading an article here. Experiencing it through the visuals and sounds deepens the sense of immersion in the story. I feel that is why it is highly praised. That's why the fans' eyes are so sharp. Both we and the Bloober team, who are involved in the development, have been very careful in determining the extent of this. For that reason, I feel a sense of responsibility for the magnitude of the response. And at the same time, it makes me very happy to hear the voices of the fans looking forward to it. Okay. With the release of the long trailer, which they're talking about, the 13-minute long trailer that we saw recently during the Silent Hill transmission. Okay, many fans say they're looking forward to it. Since it's a remake of a masterpiece, I think it's necessary to maintain the goodness of the original while changing certain things. So it seems that the sense of balance is very important. One thing to note here, this is all being translated via like Google Translate to English. So if some words or grammar is off, that's, just understand, okay? Nothing crazy. The Japanese staff, including Nobutatsu Ito, the designer who worked on the original version, and Akira Yamaoka, who produced the sound on the original games, right? Said, we want to change this. On the other hand, there were many opinions from the Bloober team, such as, no, we don't want to change this. Although we sometimes have conflicting opinions, in the end we come to a good place. If you watch the trailer, you'll be able to see how it has been reborn in a modern way while retaining the goodness of the original version. There we go. What's up, Kong? Never played Silent Hill, very strict parents. Aaron knows my story. After PT, my Silent Hill intro... I can't see the word behind that because I have like an emoji symbol there. Something feel through, and then the Kojima situation. Konami has been on my list. Yeah. I think Konami has made a lot of very bad and unpopular decisions. I think dumping Silent Hills was a mistake for sure. But I also think there were larger issues at play. There was definitely conflict between Kojima and Konami. And that goes back to Metal Gear Solid 5, which I don't want to get into too much here. I don't want to detract from the purpose of our conversation today. But, yeah, I agree with that, and it's unfortunate. And I've been hesitant to trust Konami with new stuff, but I think what I've seen, all these trailers of them trying to revive the Silent Hill franchise, has me actually pretty excited. And I think Silent Hill 2, one of my favorite games in the series, it's looking like it's going to be incredible and live up to the original, for sure. And maybe we'll see where it goes from there, you know? And I'm thinking maybe OD or one of the other games that Kojima is working on with his own studio, maybe he'll be able to tell the story he might have wanted to tell in Silent Hills. Okay, so, yeah, this is cool because Nobutatsu Ito did a lot of the original monster designs and stuff. He's very well known. You'll find him on Twitter, and he'll be sharing impressions of the monsters and the designs, and, you know, he'll project and talk fan theories with people. Akira Yamaoka has pretty much been involved with most, I would say most, if not all, of the Silent Hill games that have come out in the past several years, but he's especially notoriously known for shaping the sound of the entire franchise, you know? Feels like a cash grab, like an apology in a somewhat sincere way. I don't know. I mean, I have some things that I can mention that feel cash grabby, but I think they're sincerely trying to do a good remake of the game, and that's why we're going to watch all the videos. But I do think there are some elements of cash grab where it's like they're selling the game to you at a certain price, 48-hour early access, and, you know, all the deluxe edition stuff you get is like you're wearing masks, you're wearing a pizza box on your head. Like, it's stupid stuff that you're paying, like, an extra, like, however much it may be. Okay, so let's keep going. No, you don't have to play the original. You might get more out of it if you're one of those, but what I did with, like, the Resident Evil remakes, I still haven't played the original 2 and 3, so, of Resident Evil 2 and 3, right? I just said, I want to enjoy this in the purest way, and sometimes it's like, if you read the book before you watch the movie, you end up hating the movie. So, I wanted to enjoy those remakes, and then go back to the source material for more goods. You feel like you're eating the whole pizza instead of just half of it or a quarter of it, right? So you'll do that with, like, movies. You'll go watch a movie in the theater, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, this is based on, like, 14 books. Like, let me go buy the whole series. And now I get to live beyond this 2-hour or 3-hour experience, and I get to read the books, and I get to feel like I'm in this world for longer. I get more background on the characters, right? So play both, whatever order you want. It's just more of the universe to enjoy, right? It's why we watch comic book movies, and then we read comic books, and we play comic book video games. We enjoy all these things circular, and nothing has to be necessarily like condemning the other thing. We can enjoy everything all at once, right? Okay. Because you're involved in the original version, there were many things you wanted to change. He says, game creators don't want to create what they've created. This is very true. Like, okay, here's an example, honestly, of what this statement means, right? Taylor Swift has already written her songs, right? So now that she's re-recording her old songs, she doesn't want to sing them the exact same way. Her voice has changed over her life. She has learned more about music composition, about producing things. You know, she has honed her skills in live performance. So you can expect that these new interpretations of her old songs are going to be different, right? It's the same way when you listen to the Eagles play Hotel California. It's different when you hear it in the modern era than it was back in the 70s at a live performance. It doesn't make anything better or worse. It just means they've grown over the years. They played the song 100 times, and every new time they play it, they might reimagine it some way. They might say, "Oh yeah, you know what? For the solo, I'm gonna add something new." You know. So kind of the same thing here, right? Devs. So people lose their minds when we get movie adaptations of video games. People lose their minds when we get remakes and remasters of original games that don't go word for word of what the original was. And it's like, artists don't want to do that, dude. Nobody wants to copy the Mona Lisa. Like, if I want to paint the Mona Lisa, I want to paint it the way I want to paint it, with my skills, my talents, my emotional story will be shown through how I paint that picture. Now, it might be good, it might be bad, but it's going to be mine. It's going to be my portrayal of the Mona Lisa, right? Okay. So, going through here, this is interesting. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of things that I wanted to completely change. Bloober Team, this is interesting that Bloober Team is the ones like fighting for everything to stay original. You would think that it's Konami and some of the original Japanese team that would want you to keep things loyal, but it's actually them that are like, no, I want to reinterpret this a little differently. I want to tell the story from what I wish we could have done due to technical limitations back in 2001 when the game launched, which means they were using tech pre-2001 to develop the game, right? Yeah, so if the development team had been formed entirely within Japan, the remake might have turned out completely different. That could be for better or worse, right? Why did they decide to remake Silent Hill 2? That's a good question, besides it being this is a cash cow. This is like the most famous and highly regarded game in the entire franchise. You know, like, why not do Silent Hill 1 first and introduce people to the world that way? So, interesting. Okay. Horror games continue to be released. There are many titles that seem to have been influenced by Silent Hill. There are many works where the main character is an ordinary person or where absurd expressions are used. He goes in deeper here. If we decide to release a new series in the midst of so many attractive horror games, it doesn't have the sharp personality that's unique to Silent Hill. The series will surely disappear again someday. I was thinking about becoming deaf. Okay, maybe that's a translation thing. That's why we thought carefully about what makes Silent Hill unique. What I found was the psychological horror aspect of the film, which depicts the conflicts lurking within one's own mind. Yeah, this is what separates this game from, say, Resident Evil or other horror games where it's all about, grotesque monsters and blood and guts and, scary tentacles grabbing you and stuff like that. This is about playing with your mind and your expectations, psychological horror, right? Okay, interesting. Kong's got some thoughts there. I'll leave the comic book stuff for later. As a fan, would you rather have a new game? Is this a proper start in the right direction? This is interesting because they're doing a lot of things at once. I'm not going to go into the other games because I want to focus on this one today. Like, I want this to be all about Silent Hill 2 Remake. But they are working on Silent Hill F. They are working on Silent Hill Ascension. They are working on Silent Hill Townfall. Silent Hill The Short Message is playable on PS5. It's downloadable for free. I haven't played it yet, but I have it downloaded, and I will play it soon. It's just kind of fell off the schedule a couple of times. Beyond that, yeah, they're reviving the franchise. Let's say it that way. And then we also have a new movie being developed by Christoph Gans, Return to Silent Hill. We could take a look at that footage again at the end of this whole showcase today, but I want to make sure that we keep the focus on Silent Hill 2. So I think I agree with what he's saying here. He's like, yeah, this is why we want to remake Silent Hill 2. I mean, obviously, as I pointed out earlier, there's like a cash grab motive for like, yeah, man, like, we're going to make so much money. Like, there's that. But I think it's the most powerful story in the series. It's the most beloved one in the series. So you introduce new players and you get them to fall in love with the greatest story, right? It's like, why do we keep showing Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet in theaters? Why don't we show other Shakespeare works that are maybe less well known and not as beloved? Well, it's because these classics are the ones that can bring everyone into the wider world of Shakespeare, right? So it's the same thing with Marvel, right? Why did we start with Spider-Man and Iron Man, Captain America? They're the core members of Marvel. If we started with, like, I don't know, Ant-Man as like the first movie or something, or if for DC, instead of introducing Batman and Superman, what if we just started with The Question, or like, not even Hal Jordan, like some other Green Lantern with, some weirdo, whatever. Like, if we started with the lowest member on the rung there, we didn't tell Batman's story first. We told, like, Nightwing's story instead. You'd be like, what's going on here? So it makes sense to pull from the best material and tell the best story. Go from there. Yeah. Kavachu says, I love Silent Hill for PS1. I was so scared shits, but was crazy about it. Yeah, it was, dude, for its time, that was crazy. The piano puzzle. Wait, the piano puzzle was crap? Wait, no, come on, that's my favorite puzzle. Like, do you mean it's crap because you solved it too easily? You didn't like it? Because, like, as a musician, I was like, you can go back and watch my VOD of that. I have a full playthrough of Silent Hill 1 on the channel. I was enamored by that puzzle. I had my journal and paper out, and I drew out the piano keys, and I kept hitting the keys, and I was like, okay, what are we trying to do here? Like, the way my brain was processing that puzzle, spoiler-free for the first time, was really cool. I enjoyed it. Okay, so back to what we were getting at here. Yeah, ordinary person. Okay, so we were talking about psychological horror. Depicts the conflicts lurking within one's own mind, as if someone were being pushed into a corner mentally. Deciding factor was we thought Silent Hill 2 was the essence of that identity. Wasn't there some difficulties in establishing the identity of Silent Hill using current technology? That's an interesting thing. Oh no! So it's an issue of It's an issue of like lost in translation. Yeah, I'd have to go back. I don't remember which song it was that they reference in that puzzle. Like it might have been, Mary Had a Little Lamb or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something that just like, someone from Poland wouldn't really quite get. Had to find clues in video game magazines at the time. Dude, that was the way, man. Either that or you called like the Nintendo hotline, dude. But I mean, for Silent Hill, I don't know that they had a hotline, if we're being real. What's up? Tifa or Tuffa? I forgot how you wanted that pronounced. You got V in there. But what's up? Okay, so let's keep going here. Some difficulties in establishing the identity of Silent Hill using current technology. Let me full screen this. How about that? Yeah, there we go. That looks clean. The constant ads we're getting here. It's not hard at all. First of all, we've heard from many overseas game studios that they want to remake Silent Hill 2. One of them was Bloober Team. They were also big fans of the original work and already understood that this is what Silent Hill 2 is about. From the beginning, everyone understood what psychological horror is and that Silent Hill 2 best embodies it. And the common understanding was smooth. Bloober Team's Silent Hill 2 was loved so much that it was chosen from among many requests from overseas studios. Okay? That's a good sign. Bloober Team loves the psychological horror genre as represented by Layers of Fear. I would also mention that their game that they had on Xbox, The Medium was, to me, it looked like a very modern Silent Hill interpretation. I really dug that. I thought that was cool. Let me pull something up here. Gotta do my thing here. Okay. Nope, wrong one. I always pick the wrong one. All right. Tuffa. Got it. Cool. Psychological horror. If you want to know more about The Medium, just check my playthrough. I don't want to go in a whole tangent. I have played Layers of Fear on the channel. I have played The Medium. If you have questions, concerns, or just want to see what it looks like, find the playlist on the channel. I have everything on my main page. Okay, so there were some concerns about areas where I lacked experience, such as lack of know-how regarding battles. However, I decided to entrust Bloober Team with the remake, believing that with their passion they would be able to overcome this challenge, right? Okay. Silent Hill 2 has a lot of fans overseas. As a horror movie, I think it has a Japanese element. Would you say you're a little surprised at how well understood overseas fans are? We created it with the Japanese spirit. There are also anecdotes and myths about people going to the underworld overseas to save their wives. Yeah, it's a very common thing. Commonalities that are similar to myths around the world. Okay, that was unnecessary. Hello? We lost our thread here. Okay. I don't know why it just like launched into a Google search there. That's crazy. Okay, so we'll move on from that topic. During the exploration, I would say that walking around the quiet town of Silent Hill for a long time had a sense of meaning in itself. Very much true. That's, Silent Hill is definitely a character in a way. Okay, hang on. I lost something here. Okay, I wanted to keep that chat open right there. Cool. Let's see. I can't put it into words well, but apart from the game-like strategies and techniques, one of the appeals of this game is that you can feel a unique emotion as you play it. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at this image right here and you're walking through, the foggy town of Silent Hill, the whole introduction part of Silent Hill 2, it's not filled with lots of combat or even seeing enemies at first. Like, you literally just walk and you process, like you look around at the environment. The environment tells you a story. There's an element of loneliness and it's like I'm alone, but am I really alone? I'm hearing sounds of like things lurking in the woods or further up down the street in the fog. Like I can hear things. I can, see something, cut around a corner or something. So, I mean, it sets the scene, and it gives you a certain amount of fear and, a certain amount of uneasiness. You know you're somewhere that you don't quite belong, right? So, I mean, the environment tells a big story. So, I mean, that's going to be something that when I'm playing the game, if that's missing, I'm going to point it out. But, I mean, based on what we've seen in the videos, I think we're going to get that. Okay. So, yeah, going on from there, wandering the streets in town is part of the main character, James's state of mind. I feel the fact that it doesn't just accept what is said in dialogue in movie scenes is what really struck a chord with fans, for sure. We're aiming for that sense of balance perfectly in the original, the golden standard, right. Silent Hill 2 has puzzle elements. There are puzzle elements that lack reality. For example, something that shouldn't be falling suddenly becomes a key. Fans interpret this as representing James's psychology, and they also seem to enjoy the absurdity of the puzzle itself. If you explain too much, everything will seem to be about James, and it will lack the feel of Silent Hill. If you hint too much about James, it will lose its flavor. I think it's this kind of ambiguity that doesn't depict things in a straightforward manner that's captured the hearts and fans of both Japan and abroad. Okay. Amount of information conveyed from the appearance has increased. Seems like these elements have been further refined. In the trailer, everything from the scenery to the cityscape was depicted in great detail, giving me a strong sense of desolation, right? Increasing the amount of information, detailed descriptions, right? The saturation of the cityscape is very low. It has a chic atmosphere overall. That sense of color matched Silent Hill 2 very well, and it was a good point that I asked Bloober Team to do it. Walking through darkness is a bit different from the color scheme in Silent Hill 2. Okay. Compared to other horror games, it's questionable whether or not it looks like a horror game at first glance, even if you look at the key visuals. It doesn't look shocking. It's just a woman's face floating in a quiet streetscape. Okay, some of this is kind of small talk. There's no electricity in Silent Hill. No power sources, no traffic lights. I mean, yeah, that's a keen observation, sure. Easier to create pictures, tempting to use them, but I'm particular about that and create the atmosphere in a certain way. Okay. Optional features that emphasize immersion are also available. There was a part where you walk down a forest road and you feel like something scary is going to happen, but nothing happens. Even though nothing happens, the sounds and atmosphere gradually create a secret feeling of fear in the player. Are those scenes also used in the remake? Of course. That part will appear almost unchanged. Speaking of things that are different in the early stages, the timing of when you encounter creatures for the first time has changed. Fighting creatures isn't that important, therefore in the early stages of development, encounters with creatures were delayed even further than the original version in order to enjoy the real world before it turns into madness. That's cool. Kind of a slow burn, paying attention to the pacing of the game and the story. We received a lot of feedback that it was too slow and lacked variety, so we decided to move the encounter timing forward. Okay, fine. Well, there it is. The first encounter scene. Okay, here we go. One thing that was unusual in the trailer when opening the map, James took it out instead of displaying the map screen systematically. It felt it was a very good performance. James looks at a hand-drawn map and writes notes. In order to respect this depiction, we have taken the policy of not including a game-like user interface in the remake as much as possible, so we decided to take out the map. In the original, there was almost no UI. I mean, pretty much, yeah. immersion in the world is so important. The life gauge. Yeah, Silent Hill 4 had the life gauge displayed during battle, but yeah, players weren't crazy about that. So yeah, many titles have removed the health bar. Yeah. So I mean, I think there was a point during the article where they say, hey, if you want like reduced HUD elements, we've got that. So we're good. James turns his eyes towards the items that are falling, so it could be a hint to help you find them. I think what is lost in translation here is that if there's a key item, James will turn his head and look that way so that you as the player will know, like, okay, I need to search this room carefully. Yeah, seem more natural. A slight UI display, such as a round icon. We've seen before where like the X button is displayed next to a body, and that means like you're gonna press X and search the body for loot, whatever, right? Items don't glow. Placement and lighting allows the player to know that the item is there. Remake has the over-the-shoulder. Yep. Very different perspective. There was a scene where you searched inside a car and took out an item. In the original version, there were recovery potions scattered all over the city, but will you get them from objects instead, like breaking into cars or shops or whatever? I don't know, maybe. This is an area that's still being adjusted in terms of game balance, and there may be situations where you're suddenly placed in a position where you think, I'm sure you'll need a healing potion from here on out. However, when exploring a building, there may be situations where you can't get it without some effort, such as healing medicine behind a shelf or left in a car. However, if you place too many of them, the game becomes a game where you just explore the shelves, so the balance of item placement is still being debated. I think that's fair, because that happens in a lot of horror games. It happens in games like Fallout, Borderlands, where you become less focused in immersing yourself in the world because you're like, I need bandages, I need, a new weapon or whatever, and you just start browsing the shelves and you become less concerned about the enemy threat or the overarching story or whatever it may be, right? Yeah. Make the game easier to play. UI display settings to create an atmosphere. Item management style gameplay feels different in this game. James's reaction to being damaged would feel too game-like if we told him, I'm in a pinch right now, in an overly obvious way, so I kept it toned down. Okay. Game-like expression immersion is adjusted through repeated test play and feedback, right? Okay. Yeah, they had the blood stains on the ground. James would write information about places you visited on the map. Increased amount of information, a little easier to search with objects that can serve as indicators for searching, such as a fallen trash can. I want you to rest assured that there is no so-called yellow paint to guide players. Laugh out loud. Okay, well, there you go. No yellow paint on this one, guys. You gotta use your brains, be smart, look around. Okay, they're saying white cloth appears in the series all over the city and is a guide to exploration. Doesn't feel out of place. I think we were talking about this recently with the yellow tarps in the Division 2. It's a subtle thing. It's not yellow paint everywhere, but it's like games will have stuff like that. Uncharted games, you always knew what ledge to jump to and climb. You always knew what direction to go, and they didn't have to use yellow paint. They used other things to lead the eyes. Light and darkness is something you can play with. the colors or different items that you might be looking for can sort of lead the player in the proper direction that they want you to go. Yeah, exploring the density of the fog. If the fog is too thick, you won't be able to see the dense cityscape you've worked so hard to create. If it's too sunny, it's not Silent Hill 2. Yeah, so I mean, back in the past, the fog was there to allow them to create an open world, but without having to render it all at once and have it like crash the console for having this massive environment. It also served to create fear, right? Fear of the unknown, fear of what you can't see until it's within range, to attack you, right? So, yeah, interesting stuff there. I think we're getting close to the end on this article. I think some of the value we've seen. There might be a couple more things on the way out here. Regarding battle elements, a third-person action game. Settings aren't that difficult, so I think fans of the series will enjoy it easily. Combat was used intentionally as if it were a form of presentation. We increased the battle elements to a certain extent, making it enjoyable as an action game, and I think that's key to attracting new fans. Just like the original version, there's a difficulty level selection, so if you're not good at it, you can choose easy, and for those who are good at it, there's a hard setting that makes it more challenging. We haven't made it so difficult that the enemies are too strong, which makes it a horror story, right? I remember that the striking weapons were very strong in the original version, and I also imagine it expressed a certain part of James. The appeal of this work is that you can think about the meaning of the battle itself, by the way. In this remake, there's no such thing as a unilateral punch down. Laugh out loud. We are preparing fun actions such as aiming the attack properly and avoiding the attack with evasive actions. You can feel the presence and strangeness of the creature's movements, which is typical of Silent Hill 2. Combat trailer was criticized by overseas fans as being too much of an action game, which we're going to watch that trailer and we're going to analyze that, but we're also going to see how that changed over time, how it went from what we see in the combat trailer to what we saw at the Silent Hill transmission recently. The bubblehead nurse moved so gracefully that it looked like she was doing parkour. Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah, too intense. Right. Yeah, the creatures in Silent Hill are created with a sense of eeriness, such as how they attack, what they do, how they move. So it takes several times more effort to create the creatures in the Silent Hill series. That's true. It's not that they're making, your average zombies and your grotesque monsters. Everything has a certain movement style. Certain things may track you by sound or by light or, whatever it may be. Defeat the creature straight. It loses its Silent Hill feel. Right. Yeah, you're looking at what on earth is this guy while you're fighting. Right. How to express the enemies, interpreting the original motifs and story, and incorporating various movements. Are the types of creatures increasing? In terms of completely new products, the number is not increased. However, we have added creatures of the same type, but with different movements. So yeah, once again, it just seems like they are, surpassing the limitations of the time period. They're able to allow creatures to move in ways that they might have wished they could have moved in the original, and now they can be more expressive, or they could crawl in the ceilings or the floors, whatever. See some movie scenes in the trailer, which was over 10 minutes long. Great sense of nostalgia. Also felt the beauty of the latest technology. I wonder if motion capture is used to create such scenes. Thank you. Initially, creating the character's face by hand modeling was an option, but creating a photorealistic screen would look unnatural without a photo scan of the actual actor's face, so we decided to use a photo scan instead. Facial motion capture is a must. However, in that case, it would be important to do they resemble James in both facial structure and acting, so we carefully auditioned the characters. If James were handling a gun in a firm manner like a police officer, that would be a different move. That's right. I made some handmade adjustments to the facial expressions. I would say that I add accents without overdoing it. If I reveal intense emotional expressions, people will think that I don't think James would be feeling this way at this moment, so I'm careful to balance that as well. I was actually pretty pleased with the way James shows emotion through his face and his voice in this remake. Because of your age at the time of the announcement, James looked a little older. I was planning to make James look a little older since the players are getting older. Now it looks younger and more like the original version, so he kind of backtracked on that, I guess. Started to feel the original young James was better. Okay. Haven't been able to confirm the underworld yet, but what does it look like? It was carefully supervised by Mr. Ito, making it a space that is reminiscent of the underworld. In a sense, it's simple because it doesn't do anything outlandish, and instead depicts the underworld that I wanted to depict in the original version in a modern way. So once again, it's striking not only that balance, but it's also saying like, hey, this is what I wish we could do back in '01. We're doing it now, 20 plus years later, right? Silent Hill 2 seems rather plain compared to other works in the series. However, each underworld has a deep meaning within the story. That's true. That's true. The underworld started, or the other world as we might call it, would often... It got more detailed, it got more grotesque as the games continued on. That's very true. And each game kind of had their own spin on that. There were certain interpretations of the other world that were different because it relates to the character that you're playing as and the story that you're playing through. There is no one way to adapt the other world. There's no one perfect way to do it that is canon to the series. It is situational, okay? Yeah. Because of the saying, you couldn't do something crooked. I don't know what that means. There are parts of the game that we want to make interesting and things we want to incorporate in the game. If we change that, the meaning may change, so we make adjustments looking at the balance. So yeah, that's fair. Same goes for maps. There were elements of the game that we wanted to do if we wanted to create a modern system. We couldn't do it because it would be inconsistent with Silent Hill 2. Bloober Team had a lot of trouble developing it. In a sense, as the fate of remakes. If it's a completely new game, you can change the specifications depending on the game, but with a remake, you have the original version. The respect is very important. For example, we have been discussing the size of the representative creature, Pyramid Head, right? The main villain, we might say, in this series, or this game, right? Normally, I think it's a matter of making a giant alien creature. It looks big and strong, but because it looks scary, can create a scary feeling. However, if you make Pyramid Head huge, the original meaning changes. Rather than simply showing off, we use movement and direction to create a sense of threat. Yeah, there's something about Pyramid Head. It's a very basic design. He's not a big hulking figure. We're not seeing like tentacles and wings and claws and all sorts of stuff. But it is in the way that he moves and how he shows up, and the emotion that's being portrayed, and maybe it's the lighting of the scene, and it's a lot of things that factor into the emotion of somehow, this thing that you may see in this image here, you might say, oh, it doesn't look that scary, but when you understand the full meaning of everything it represents and what's happening, and maybe you put yourself in James's shoes, this could look very terrifying, right? To an ordinary man, right? Like someone that doesn't play a bunch of horror video games. Some guy that's actually trapped in this madness, this would be very scary, right? Let's let's see, constantly adjusting the presentation and presence, including the size until the very last minute. I was able to show it to fans later, so I'd be happy if you could look forward to it as well. Good. Release date has been announced. Could you give a message to the fans who are looking forward to it? It's been a long wait. We're finally able to announce the release date. You can see plenty of game scenes in the latest trailer. Please check it out. Cool. More information as we approach the release date. Look forward to it. And there's Famitsu right there. Cool. So, I mean, that's the article. I think we got some extra details and stuff from that. I will include a link to that article in the description after the video is complete. But let's go into trailers. Let's look at trailers. Let's do some analysis. This is the exciting part. This is the fun part that everybody usually gets some enjoyment from. So yeah, this is the teaser trailer. Let me go back here. When did this dropped a year ago? I don't know. I like to put the date on my videos. Not everybody. Yeah, it doesn't look like they were doing it, but that's fine. Okay.
Could she really be here, waiting for me? Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill.
The OGs, right?
I know what you are. I know why I needed you. But it's all over now. I don't need you anymore. I'm ready. Mary?
Oh, yeah. And then they showed him. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack here, right? So we'll kind of hit the the interesting notes. First of all, the bathroom scene, like the intro of Silent Hill 2, this is iconic. Like, when this trailer aired for the first time, like, I knew exactly what this was. When he kicked that door open, there was no mistaking what this game was, right? And I think what we're seeing here, like the shaky hands, like, he knows something's off, right? He knows this can't be true, this can't be right. I'm going to try not to spoil elements of the game here, but, the initial plot that you see on the back of the box is, James' wife passed away from the disease. She wrote him a letter, and it says, "Come to me. I'm in Silent Hill in our special place." And he knows she's dead, but he travels to Silent Hill thinking, like, I'm going to see my wife again, right? And anyone who's been through grief or anything like that, you would, I don't know, let me choose my words carefully. You do anything for another moment with your wife or your dad or your mom or whoever that may have passed on, right? So even though the story is a lot about him going through the stages of grief, these particular camera angles are iconic. I like the emotional presentation, the lighting. It's a little different. I think the original Silent Hill, the colors were more washed out. This one, it's like there's a lot more darker, more complex lighting than what we had over 20 years ago, right? So once again, it's harnessing the technology to tell the story. And like you can tell right here, like he's either on the verge of crying or he's been crying the whole drive here because he's in denial at this point.
Could she really be here?
Could she really be here?
Waiting for me.
Maybe splash some water on his face at the same time, but also
Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago.
he has that crying face. So, and then this is where the game starts. That's his car. We're at the overlook, looking over to Luca Lake. The map of the city there. I'm gonna mute the audio here, just so we can. Yeah, and this is how you're introduced to just that sense of eeriness that we were talking about earlier. The town seems empty. Things, you're seeing something in the fog. It just doesn't look quite right. I do hope that there's lots of cutscenes. I know a lot of the original game had the storytelling was told through the gameplay and through just exploring the environment, but I like these camera angles that they're showing in the trailer, and I kind of wouldn't mind if they cut into a cutscene to show that, so that you don't miss it. Because sometimes you could be in a horror game, you could be, now that you have independent camera control, you could be looking in the wrong direction and miss the jump scare. I've seen it 100 times, okay? I've streamed horror games on this channel. I have a whole tab on the main channel page on YouTube that it's horror playlists, and it's every horror game I've played on the channel organized in the playlist, right? So, I mean, I've done this. I've seen other gamers do this, where you're looking the wrong direction and you miss the jump scare. So, or you just miss some detail, that you would pick up. So I think there's a lot of emotional value here. There's a lot of, just aimless wandering, hesitation. He's just kind of strolling around here. So, okay, so there's that. There's the introduction of the creatures. There's Pyramid Head doing some stuff that I'm not going to talk about. Laura Brookhaven, there's the apartments. He's like reaching for the key and Laura kicks it away. Okay, I'm going to turn the audio back on because I actually this scene really sold me on like the emotional value that they're trying to portray more so than they were able to back then.
Oh, why I needed you.
I know why I needed you. I know who you are, right? Okay, now this scene here, this was a cutscene in the original where you like go into this closet and you're hiding from Pyramid Head. And I think the way they portrayed this scene is so much better because in the original he's doing the same thing, but like with the lighting, with the eyes quivering, the fear in his eyes, that glassy white reflection of his eyes, like he's like about to cry because he's in fear of this creature that he's looking at, right? Like you're seeing a lot of things happen on screen here that is projecting his fear of what's happening here. He's like, this dude could ram his sword through the closet door here and kill James, regardless of anything that happens, right? So he's, there's a way that can be sold now in a way that back then it just looked like he was hiding in the closet. We couldn't tell the story of how James felt in this moment without the technology we have nowadays to portray the lighting and the darkness and the facial capture technology that we have now, right? Like, look how his eyes widened. Look at how there's a little bit of reflection there. There's some shakiness in the barrel of the gun rising up to fire through one of the shutters here.
But it's all over now.
Okay. Now this scene here gets a lot of critique. Everyone says online, all the haters, everyone says James looks too sad, like a cartoon character. Well, this moment is, without spoiling it, I said earlier that the stages of grief and a lot of other things play out during Silent Hill. There's a lot of puzzles, there's a lot of psychological horror, a lot of being in your head, and the puzzles are a projection of his mental state, of his struggles, and it's almost like the entire game is forcing him to slip out of denial and face reality and answer for his crimes, right? Whether that's more of a thing in your head or whatever. But yeah, I really like, because this is just a moment where you equip puzzle pieces and you solve the puzzle, right? But turning this moment here into like a deeply emotional cutscene of him doing the Hangman's Noose puzzle here, and seeing how he feels in the moment, I think this is a win. Like, he's struggling to pull this down. There's some thoughts. There's the rain. There's a lot going on. I can't wait to see this scene and analyze it even more in the game.
I don't need you anymore.
Okay, and once again, we're seeing him hit the nurses. I don't know. Maybe this scene is just for the trailer, but I think this stuff looks cool. Gamers, don't forget to like and subscribe if you are enjoying the content on the channel. We're live on YouTube and TikTok. So if you want to see this in a horizontal format, tune in on YouTube. If you're content hanging out on the TikTok platform and watching things in vertical, I make a lot of footage over there, a lot of clips and videos and live streams there as well. So make sure you're following me in all the places, okay? But yeah, I like this. They showed off this is the sexy nurses, right? Because there's several different types, but I won't get into that. Let's not into things that might spoil the game. Once again, we're seeing like more emotional storytelling through the movement of the character, the facial capture that we're seeing here. Right? I like it. Because those moments, these moments right here are some of the deepest turmoil that you feel throughout the story. And you want these moments to feel traumatic and scary, and you want that feeling of loss and realization. Like, you want the character to feel something because you are going to feel something through the character. So here, that's a big scene too. This is iconic. I can't believe they showed it in a trailer, but that's fine. It's fine. It doesn't spoil anything, but it's just...
I'm ready.
But yeah, that's him coming to terms with everything, pretty much. And then, of course, this is where he meets Mary?
Mary?
Yeah, and the glimpse of Pyramid Head, cool. Yeah, decent. So yeah, that was the teaser trailer that we saw a while back. So let's dive in. I've got 1, 2, 3, I think I got 5 more videos total. Some of these are brief though. So, all right, this is the trailer we talked about earlier. This is 4 months ago. It says Silent Hill 2 combat reveal trailer. Now this is the one that they were talking about in the Famitsu interview, where they were like, "Hey, we needed to make some changes after this trailer. Like this, player feedback was that this felt too much like a shooty hit him with a baseball bat kind of game. And Silent Hill is not necessarily a game about combat." Okay, so let's dig in here. Alright, this is the combat trailer. I'm gonna let it play, and then we'll go back and analyze. Woodside Apartments. Ooh. Okay. Gross. Okay. Okay. All right. So, what do we get from this trailer? A lot of people were upset because they said, and I'll give them credit here. There were a lot of quick jump cuts between like him using different weapons and shooting a large variety of different enemies in the game, that it does make it seem like we're playing a John Wick game. But that's the editing issue. That's not really a video game issue. That's just, hey, we wanted to showcase all the weapons and like what they do and how it feels, and show that we're modernizing the combat of this game, because it was clunky and kind of bad in the original, but some of that was intentional, and I don't think any of that's going to be lost per se. Okay, so we got a couple of things here. There's safe puzzles, there's the moth puzzle, there's the dead body in front of the TV. I mean, they're just showing that transitioning between both apartment complexes. This is a big scene from the original. The clock puzzle is a big deal, which if we go back, the frame by frame's not going fast enough. Yeah, you've got the door to the grandfather clock, which had a key. You had to open that, and then you had to mess with the clock from there. I think that puzzle might be deeper in this interpretation. It might be a little more difficult. I have more going on. Okay. This is outside the apartments. The dumpster, there's a little Easter egg puzzle there. Going into the apartments. Dude, just like the lighting of this and the exploration, I'm just gonna love immersing myself in this. Seeing one of my favorite games from a whole new perspective, feeling like I'm living it. Appreciate you liking the video. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for liking the video, sharing the video, all that good stuff. Really helps. Okay. All right, so let's dig in a little further here. Okay, that's the coin puzzle, and another thing we're going to talk about is how Konami has they've over-merched this game. There's a lot of merch you can buy. I did buy James's jacket. I did buy the coins that are in this puzzle. I bought the key, the room key, which will, that's later in the story. I'm not going to dive into that too much. But they are selling like a lot of statues and a lot, which is kind of cool. But I mean, they literally, after they showed the 13-minute long gameplay trailer this week, like, they were like, check out our merch store, and they did like a whole ad of like all the t-shirts they're selling and all the statues, and like, don't forget to buy your merch, and it came across very money hungry. That's the only thing I see that seems money hungry. I don't think there's anything about the game. I think it is Konami's presentation of, hey, don't forget to buy our merch. Nothing wrong with a business saying, I do it. I say don't forget to buy my merch, right? I do that stuff. But it was just the way it was presented that felt like, we need the money, please. Okay? So yeah, this is the coin puzzle. I don't want to get into it, but God, it's such a great puzzle. It makes you think. And there might be new puzzles too. So yeah, that's when he jumps through the window to get to the other apartment complex. These are the mannequins. There are various types of enemies, various variations of this enemy. But basically, it's got like backwards legs on top instead of a head. So yeah, it'll like, it's standing on two legs, but then it has two legs on the head. Yeah, then we got these guys, the straight jackets. There's lots of different names, lots of different nicknames. But yeah, they are designed in a way to look like something in particular that I won't mention. So I mean, the enemy designs are there, the combat animations, everything looks smooth, right? Yeah, and you've got, animations for that, showcasing the weapons, reap what you sow. So I mean, just jump cutting this back to back to back makes it look like it's an action game. But it's not, okay? It's not. Don't worry. Nobody worry, right? So yeah, puzzles, weapons. This right here. Where is it? Right there. When he finds the gun in the shopping cart, that's Japan saying something about America. And if you don't get it, let's just say there's certain places where you go shopping where you can just pick up a gun with your bananas and your apples and your ground beef and yeah. So I mean, what I see here looks, I just want to show you how the weapons look, how the fighting looks. There's dodging, if you target specific body parts of an enemy, you hit them in the head, you shoot them in the knee, they're going to fall down to their knees, they're not going to be able to stand. The classic mechanic of kicking enemies while they're down, that's still there. Because sometimes if you don't finish off the enemy, they will get back up. So, okay, this was the thing that they critiqued in the article that fans were really mad about. Was this part right here. Because nurses don't really, the nurse characters, the enemies, they don't really do this. That's not a move. That's not a move that's in their move set. They're very rigid. They have a certain choreographical. If you've seen the movies or you played the games, they have a certain way that they move, and players called that out. And the developers, they said in the Famitsu article that we read today that like, hey, we saw that feedback. We realized that was like, us sort of misinterpreting something. We've changed that, okay? So we're good. Okay? So yeah, keep in mind, this is a trailer from months ago. So we're alright. Cool. So that's the combat trailer. It wasn't well received at the time. But yeah, coming to PS5 and Steam. We'll move on from that one. Okay, this is the release date trailer, which was shown 6 days ago. This was during the PlayStation State of Play broadcast here. This is another quick one. Okay. No, I'm not gonna pause.
Excuse me.
Play.
I'm sorry. I was just...
It's okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost. I'm looking for Silent Hill.
I think you should stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it?
Is it dangerous?
Maybe.
I'll be careful.
I'm not lying.
I guess I don't really care if it's dangerous or not. I'm going either way.
No, you shouldn't be here. I'll be good, I promise. Tell him I'll be good, please. No, please.
Yikes. Okay, so yeah, October 8th, release date. Alright, so now let's sort of recap what's happening here. This is the graveyard, one of the first areas we enter from the lookout of Toluca Lake. You know, we go through the woods, we wander through kind of the outskirts of town, and then we come into a cemetery, and Angela is the first character we meet. So she's been reimagined, and this has gotten a lot of critique from the community, gamers, non-gamers, not necessarily non-gamers. I would say people that are affiliated with the Silent Hill series and people that are not. So there is sort of, I'm not going to do comparisons. I'm not going to waste time on stupid stuff. But some people were comparing her looks, saying that she's been made to be uglier. Some people are saying that the original version of the character was meant to be hotter or to look older or to have different facial features. This character actually shares a lot of some of the same features. She did have thick eyebrows in the game, but not necessarily in the cutscenes, the pre-rendered cutscenes, right, that were in the original game. So once again, this is them trying to do what they originally wanted to do, and Angela is supposed to be like 18, 19 years old, and I think gamers, we always thought that she was like 30 or 40 or something. Like, she just looked that way. And it's also said, you know, that victims of abuse will sometimes look older than they actually are. They kind of have to grow up sooner than a child or teenager or a young adult actually would. So yeah, it's very interesting the way she's introduced here. I don't want to spoil too much of her backstory, but he taps her shoulder, and all of a sudden it...
Excuse me.
Yeah, she gets spooked.
I'm sorry. I was just...
It's okay. I didn't
She
mean
was
to scare
alone in the graveyard, and she's already apologizing. What does that say about her state around men, whether she knows them or not? She immediately, like, hands out, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, right?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. I was just...
It's okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost. I'm looking for Silent Hill.
I think you should stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it?
Notice how she said that. She said there's something wrong with it? Like her voice went up in pitch. Like it's a question. It's like we kind of know there's something wrong with it, but like there's something wrong with it. Like kind of held back a little bit.
Is it dangerous?
Maybe.
One of the monsters.
I'm not lying. Maybe.
Okay, this part's interesting. He says, I'll be okay. But also some of the things that he says in the original game, he's like, I have to go. I am going to find Mary in this town. Like, I need to go. I need to find her. You know, this is my wife. Nothing's going to stop me from, you know, supposedly going to visit my dead wife in this town, right?
I'll be careful.
I'm not lying.
That's another, the way she said I'm not lying, it's very much her speaking to an older man, a role model, or someone who is over her in superiority.
I guess I don't really care if it's dangerous or not.
Fair point. Once again, showing the clock puzzle. This is new. Lakeside is shown a lot in Silent Hill 3. There's also diners in the first Silent Hill and in Origins. There's a lot of... So some of the other games have more districts within Silent Hill and different locations and more places to visit. So hopefully, and there might be some like bonus locations or an extra puzzle or something new for the people that have already played this game, or some nods to the other games, right?
I'm going either way.
So he's going no matter what. We get a glimpse of the other world, the scarier parts, right?
No, you shouldn't be here.
More of the dodging, more of the combat. Nothing unusual here. I mean, just modern mechanics that you would expect from like a modern horror game without turning it into, you know, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, or you know, turning it into a Batman Arkham game. It's not that. It's definitely not that. Okay. And once again, we're seeing like if you pinpoint, you know, much like Resident Evil, you would shoot the zombies in the legs so that their legs would be damaged, and then they could only crawl, and it would reduce the threat. It's kind of the same thing here. You know, you get them down like that so you can do a finishing move with the pipe and then stomp them and make sure they're down for good in the game, right? It's showing here that you're not having to like push a button to go in the menus or rotate through a radial menu or hit a bunch of D-pad buttons to tab over from the gun to the metal pipe to the foot or whatever, you know. Like I think it's showing that it's just going to be different buttons to whip out whatever weapon you have in your hands or equipped on your character. Yeah, it looks... I think this is good. It looks good that you're able to switch between the pistol and the pipe very quickly, more so quickly than you could in the original. 'Cause, yeah, he shoots, and he walks up with the pipe, stomps. That's nothing an ordinary man wouldn't be able to do, okay? It doesn't... This doesn't mean that he's police trained or anything silly like that. This is just... This is the average man who can defend himself, right? Okay, once again, we're seeing more of the creatures. This was an area that was like out of bounds in the OG Silent Hill 2. And also seeing the roaches and stuff. Some of that's new. I think this is cool. I dig this. I dig the nighttime. I dig the rain. All that good stuff. Yeah, the roaches... Hearing the light. This is the prison area from late in the game. Yeah, you're seeing the guys under there too. This is a very important enemy type that even shows up in Silent Hill 3. for some reason.
I'll be good, I promise. Tell him I'll be good, please.
This feeds kind of deeper into Angela's backstory. Once again, I hinted that it is about abuse. I'm not going to spoil anything, but we'll just, let
I'll be good, I promise. Tell him I'll be good, please.
They're fleshing out the character more. And this is James fighting the boss that we call the doorman. There's lots of different terms, So, some people might get mad at me for calling it the doorman. Other people will say, no, that's fine, whatever. So yeah, you always use the hunting rifle on the doorman. Either that or rock the shotgun, man. You gotta. It was a close quarters battle in the original game. Here it looks like maybe we're able to roam maybe a larger area with some hallways or something. That way it's not just... That was the only thing that was kind of weak about the original Silent Hill 2, was like every boss fight was like in a square, rectangular room, and some of those weren't designed for you to be able to like dodge or run away, so it was kind of clunky, kind of weird, kind of off. So I mean, they could sell the fear in different ways by having you run down hallways, or get into a larger circular room, or try to set up choke points, or try to run away to escape and put some space between you and the boss. So yeah, that's the doorman. And I'm not gonna dig into it, but it is a very physical representation of Angela and her story. It's not good. It's very well interpreted, but it's not good for her. It's not good for her. Not great. Okay, so yeah, that was the release date trailer. We got a couple more things to look at. The Silent Hill 2 gameplay trailer. I want to look at the cast and Bloober Team dev diary real quick. It's like 2 minutes long. This is not going to take us a lot of time to look at, because I want to save that 13-minute trailer for the end of the video here, where we'll do like a deeper analysis of that as we go through it. Okay, so
I'm very excited for people to play this game. There's no one aspect that I could say that
subtitles just to be
I
safe.
want people to experience, because I want people to experience all of it. It's such a journey. It's such a big part of our lives, and I just want people to be able to see it.
I think the biggest challenge that we've had was actually how to make the game approachable for the newcomers who have not played the original, but at the same time...
That's an important point. Remakes are not just for longtime fans. It is also for newcomers, right? It's to bring new people to the franchise, to let them experience Silent Hill 2 in the way that we did back in the day, right? To give them the same respect and appreciation. And maybe they don't want to play the older game with the old graphics and the clunky controls, right? That's why the Resident Evil games have been remade. That's why dozens of other games have been remade. It's to introduce these games to a new audience in a new context, right? All right?
I think the biggest challenge that we've had was actually how to make the game approachable for the newcomers who have not played the original, but at the same time to still retain the familiarity of the game that player remembers from 20 years ago.
Our goal from the very beginning was to maintain the game's atmosphere while modernizing the gameplay to make it competitive in 2024.
In the remake, the story remains largely the same. However, with the magic of modern technology, we were able to expand on some of its aspects.
The hardest was designing combat. We want to be as faithful as possible to the original game, but also we...
So, another thing to observe. We were reading the Famitsu article earlier. It was Bloober Team that wants to be more in line with the original game, whereas the OG guys at Konami, or former members of Team Silent, which developed the early Silent Hill titles, were actually wanting to make more changes. So that balance and that respect, it's there. It's clearly there.
Want players to feel satisfaction while playing, remembering that we need to fit in horror genre standards.
Horror genre standards, yeah.
So when making a game with static cameras, you as a designer have much more control over what players sees, where they go, and so on. The change for the third-person perspective was a challenge. That being said, it's a chance for us to expand this world, to show the players new elements that were previously inaccessible, and just make this game richer.
So the main thing that requires rethinking was the fog, because it was called classic in the original game, and it's a veil that covers the world and makes the player to feel even more isolated.
Kind of covered all this.
Gives us a chance to do things that were not possible during the earlier generations of video games. For narrative, this is very visible in facial expressions. We can tell so much through just the subtle changes on characters' faces. So much.
Okay, hang on.
Video games. For narrative, this is very visible in facial expressions. We can tell so.
This is the scene where Angela is like looking at her reflection in the knife, and she sees James behind her. Like, this is an iconic scene right here.
So much through just the subtle changes on characters' faces.
And she's in front of a mirror too. There's that.
The presented gameplay footage shows a fragment of the city from the beginning of the game and sections in Brookhaven Hospital. The fight against monsters is prepared in a more tactical form, and it's mainly based
Lakeside
on the
Diner.
varied designs of the enemies. James is not used to fighting, so his arsenal of attacks is limited. Adapting your approach to a situation will be the key to success. However, your...
See, that makes sense. We read about how they, you know, recreated the combat and made it better and more modern in some ways, and then how they kind of made sure that they've toned it down. And now it is a little more, as he said, you have to adapt your approach.
Adapting your approach to a situation will be the key to success. However, your playing style, among other things, determines what ending you will discover.
Cool. So that one's pretty straightforward. That's just an interview with the team. The last thing I want to look at before we check out the full trailer, the gameplay, and do a deep analysis of that. I want to show the cast interview, okay? This is third person. This is a third person game, yeah. They might allow us...
Roberts, and I'm playing James.
They might allow us to maybe look at things in first person. There might be moments where you'll have that power, or you might have camera control in certain ways. Because in the original, there was like, you could pull one of the triggers, the L2 or R2. I think it was L2. And it would like zoom in, and you could kind of look around that way. But you never had like full immersive control in the originals, because the isometric camera angle, the fixed camera angles that they had, you know, the game had express control over what you could see and what you couldn't see. So yeah, interesting. This is the cast right here. Cast interview.
So I'm Luke Roberts, and I'm playing James Sunderland in the remake of Silent Hill 2.
My name is Salome Gunnarstottir, and I play Mary/Maria.
When you're playing an iconic character such as James Sunderland, you obviously have to respect the original.
When playing these characters in this game, the thing that I paid most attention to was the original game.
So he is not an action hero by any means. He is just a guy who is a little lost at the top of this game, and in a sense of he is to a greater extent in a bewildered state. So it's very interesting charting his journey.
This one, we're trying to honor something that's already been made. And so it's not me creating something, it's me
Oh, that's the
channeling
elevator
something.
door scene.
It's not.
Let's go back.
We're
That's
trying
the elevator
to
door.
honor something that's already been made. And so it's not me creating something, it's me channeling something.
The tone.
Okay. Hang on.
Me creating something, it's me channeling.
All right. Gotta mention this, but it's silly. Maria's original design from Silent Hill 2 was it was kind of them like ripping off a Christina Aguilera outfit that she had. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here's your comparison. Christina Aguilera on the left, Mary on the right. Or Maria on the right. What's up, Angry Moose? Yeah, so this was kind of the original design philosophy, and without like getting in too deep of what Maria means and some of the deeper symbolism, stuff like that, without getting into that, I think we're getting a different interpretation, and I'm giving the developer the benefit of the doubt here because we haven't played the game, so we don't know if this is like good or bad that they've made this change. But look at her outfit now. The leather jacket could be risque, the choker risque, the pink ends on her colored hair a little risque. You know, showing the arms, sure. But like the rest of the outfit, it looks more like a business dress skirt than something a woman who is promiscuous would be wearing. So without getting deeper into Maria and her design, this seems different. It could be that maybe they're not showing us the exact outfit, or maybe she changes outfits at some point for some reason. Like maybe there's deeper meaning. So maybe we'll get full context when we play the game. But I think a lot of people had a problem with the change here. I don't know. I'm not freaking out about it, but it was key that she was, you know, showing the belly, and you know she had this, you know, leopard print, you know, very promiscuous looking outfit on. There's a reason for it.
The tone of this game is very important, and
Very
the
true.
team at Bloober were very keen to create an incredible atmosphere for the gamers.
I do believe that this will be trying its very best to capture and recapture the atmosphere, the vibe, and the story, and sometimes like the literal words and moments of the original.
Cool. So that is the character cast interview, all that. Okay. Last thing we're going to look at. We have a 13-minute, 49-second character trailer, or gameplay trailer. Sorry. Getting all my words mixed up here. This was the big one. This was shown at the Silent Hill transmission a couple days ago. We're going to do a deep dive on this one, and for sake of, you know, this being a rather long trailer, instead of airing the trailer first and then reacting to it, I don't know. We could let it play first. Yeah, let me let it play first, and then I'll do a reaction. How about that? That way you guys can like watch it, you get the full context, and then I'll go into breakdown mode after, because I want to grab a drink really fast. I'm out of coffee, and we got to stay hydrated. I'm doing a lot of talking today. So yeah, this is the 13-minute gameplay trailer. So yeah, let's dig in, let's check it out.
special place. What could she mean? This whole town was our special place.
You promised you'd take me there again someday. But you never did.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. Is she really alive? Is this?
Hey, wait!
What you got there?
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
What? Hey, wait! How do you know her name?
Where did she go?
I don't know. Let's look around.
This place feels so empty. More than the other places we've been.
Laura! Wait!
It's okay. We don't want to hurt you.
God damn it. Now, where is that girl? Why do you keep running away from me? And how do you know about Mary?
Mary's my friend. We met at the hospital last year.
Stop lying! Laura, I'm sorry, I didn't mean...
Fine! Don't believe me! See if I care!
Hey!
Let go!
I'm sorry, Laura, but I can't let you just run around this place. You might get hurt.
Hurt by what?
Look, just stay with me, okay? This is no place for a kid.
Fine. But... there's something I gotta get.
Laura.
It's important.
What is it?
A letter. For Mary.
What?
I hid it. In there.
You sure this is where you left it?
It's in the back. Behind an old pipe.
Okay, wait here. Open the door, Laura.
Why should I? I'm a liar, right? Want me to open it? Huh? Do ya?
Damn! Let me out of here, you little brat!
In your dreams, fart face.
Please open the door. There's something in here.
Sure there is. A big lying fart face. See ya, fart face!
Laura! Laura!
Cool. So that is the latest trailer, which I think does a great job of getting people excited for this interpretation of the game. Once again, seeing the Toluca Lake overlook there where we start the game, you know, acknowledging that this is a classic survival horror title, you know, in a new way that we've never seen it before. Yeah, faithfully remade. The old record store stuff that we're seeing. Fair to say. Old Town was our special place. Okay, so once again, we're seeing like the dress. It's not very promiscuous, so players have an issue with that. I'm gonna wait and see. Maybe it's just a modern update of the times, or maybe this is gonna end up being a misunderstanding of the core of Maria's character, being a promiscuous.
You promised you'd take me there
version.
again someday, but you never did.
It's the rowboat. So I mean, even the voice acting of that particular line, this delivery is very important to fans of the series. I think it's good. I think it's coming through in a whole new way.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. Is she really alive?
Animations are really smooth, really good looking. East side of Southvale. I like the very subtle UI that fades in and out. You know, there's no health, ammo indicators. You know, and once again, they said you'll be able to toggle all that if you need it to show things, but everything's going to be really immersive.
What is this?
And of course, James turning his head automatically to look at stuff.
Hey, wait.
Can I pet that dog? Okay. bad. I would not crawl into a dark garage with blood on the floor, but that's just me. But yeah, more immersive, a little different. The way that they're letting you walk in and explore the early moments of Silent Hill. Discovering the radio, meeting the first enemy. You know, these are all key moments. This is a different interpretation of the initial scene where this happens, but I like this. I like this new way of showing it. See, there's your straitjacket. Funny. Yeah, and he just pulls it out of the wall like that. That's kind of cool. Oh, not the bomb. Dodging. Got your different attacks. Like nothing unusual. It's the same way you would fight if a strange creature walked into your room, you know? You'd improvise a weapon and you just hit it as hard as you can, as much as you can. Once again, here we're able to see his health indication. He's like holding his chest, you know? There's some blood on his outfit. He's limping. You got the red border around the screen. I mean, this is all, you know... I dig it. It's very informative without being overbearing. Oh yeah, and this is showing, you know, how you can look around for items to loot, but it's all very immersed in the environment, you know. Nutrition supplement, that's your health. Just a quick little UI pop-up. Maybe you could turn that off, you know? Seems like most of the UI is toggleable. And that's pretty common nowadays. And then also this. Like, this is kind of how they're making it more subtle, you know? So you know what is interactable. Because they're not going to make the body glow for you. Like, they said, hey, we're not going to use yellow paint. We're not going to make things... obvious, but you know, we do have to give you something, right? We got to use light, we got to use darkness, we got to use some sort of minimalist UI elements, which a lot of games are doing this nowadays. So I mean, this is a good move. Keeps you immersed in the game, but also you know what button to push to pick up the match. Pack of matches here, the matchbook. And then of course, dude, once again, I'm praising the animations that we see in this game. You know, once again being able to examine and zoom in on objects that we find to look for clues. But then beyond that, pulls out an actual map and starts marking. And they also mentioned that he was going to have hand-drawn maps because there's going to be certain areas where you don't have a printed map, which is cool. I dig it. I've always liked that about Silent Hill because James marks the map, you'll know, oh yeah, this door was locked, or I've been in this room already. Oh, okay, this is the room where I found the matchbook, right? Or this is the room where I found the coin. So I know I don't need to backtrack there. Or like, oh, this is where the coin puzzle is. Okay, so once I get all the coins, I can go do the coin puzzle here. So it helps whether you're taking a break from the game or you kind of get lost and forget where you are. You know, James annotating the map in the game, it's always been a core feature, and now it feels like it's even more immersive, right? Here's a note. If you're reading this, leave. This place is not what it seems. There's another side to it hidden behind a rest, thin as paper. Sometimes you just hear... to look behind. Okay. There's Laura. This is another iconic scene.
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
What? Hey, wait!
How do you know her name?
Actually, okay. Maybe there's something we're not seeing, gamers. Hang on. Whew. Let's examine this a little closer. I know we can't like zoom in right here. Okay, I'm not talking about her butt. Okay. There is a, it doesn't appear to be like a leopard print design, but there is some sort of print here, and it does seem to be not holographic is not the term, but it's like in the right light, it just looks like a solid grayish black dress. But I think there is a print there, so maybe it is kind of a different interpretation. Maybe they're not going with the classic, very obvious leopard print, super slutty, early 2000s kind of look. Maybe it's a little different, but I think they're still pulling from that early 2000s look, because this game came out in 01. Yeah, I think we're seeing that. I think we're seeing that on her dress. If we really, let me see if we can. Yeah, I mean, you can see that there's a pattern there. It's just, it all depends on the lighting, and in certain situations we're not able to see that. So that'll be something interesting to see when we actually pick up the game. So yeah, Brookhaven's a key part of the game, and I'm excited to see this part when we actually get to play, right?
Where did she go?
Yeah, I guess you can kind of see it here, but like, I guess the screenshots that everybody's picked, to micro-analyze online, yeah, there's definitely a print to it. It's just hard to tell what it is. But yeah, she's still got her tattoo and stuff. She's still got a bracelet, the high boots, She's certainly trying to look attractive for reasons, I'll say. But yeah, this is not really, the dress is not really super promiscuous, so it doesn't really fit with the character of Maria. But I'm willing to see how things go. I think the fact that there's a print leads that there's more to be seen here.
I don't know. Let's look around.
So yeah, I like the idea that we're going to be immersed in the hospital and we're going to walk around and explore. This seems like a very similar layout. It's a little more logical in its layout. Maybe there's extra places that we'll get to explore within the hospital. I think that would be really cool. Multiple floors for sure. So that's the first floor map. But yeah, look at how the lighting is. We're seeing the gold lighting from the sun setting outside coming through the windows. Like, this is tech that we just didn't have in 01. And how dark the end of the hallway gets, the flashlight, all that stuff.
So empty. More than the other places we've been.
Feels empty. So that wind was basically pointing to the player like, investigate this area, Director requested the files of the 3 crucial patients. You know which ones. Could you please bring them to his office? So yeah, just subtle ways that they can nudge the player without having yellow paint all over the place. Where's the nurse staff? Oh no, not them with their faces scratched off. That's a deeper psychological thing about James and the nurses, both as enemies and as a manifestation of something. Yeah, so we're about halfway through our analysis of this final trailer. Yeah, look at that. Look at how the lighting is so good. and so realistic of what it is, with today's modern technology, you can't even really see the end of the hallway. Like, we're able to sell darkness in a way that light can bounce off of walls and reflect and do things that it couldn't do in 2001, for example. So yeah, we're getting a darker, more realistic portrayal here of this game. Yeah, even just having a door cracked open like that gets the player curious. That makes you want to walk over and check it out. Or seeing a lit area over here, it makes you want to say, oh, I'd better check that hallway, Like, just the subtle ways that the art and design team and the lighting folks can use that as a guide, right? And signs could help too, Even the wind is sort of guiding you, like Ghost of Tsushima, right? Hearing sounds, hearing the girl sing. Laura?
Laura!
She's drawing a monster.
It's okay. We don't want to hurt you.
God damn it. Now, where is that girl?
Floor 2. Okay, so here's the nurses. She doesn't know he's here because he hasn't made noise. I think she saw him though. So some people track by sound, some enemies can track you through the light. Yeah, headshot, he's dazed. Once again, like, this is something that I noticed with this particular gameplay trailer, was like, you could switch weapons instantaneously and quickly switch between ranged and melee combat, and I think that's a huge win for the series. In terms of accessibility, ease of use, making the combat smoother and more fun, right? Dodging. Now that was interesting. This was interesting. So she hits him, but then he's gonna go in for 2 exact same swings, like spamming quick attacks, and she punishes him for that. So what? Boom. She grabs it and then hits him. Yeah. The design is pretty on point. So now she's down. I think it was cool that the gun clicked to symbolize, hey, I'm out of ammo. Gotta run in, hit her with the metal bar, with the pipe. Right here. Click, click. Boom. Knocked her down. Gotta finish off the enemy. Don't be too excessive. Maybe. Okay, he's been hurt, so he's limping. There you go. Syringe. We're back at it. So I don't know. All this looks great to me. I'm very excited. And like, here's the interesting thing. It's dark enough in the hospital to be scary, but something about the original games that they couldn't portray was this type of darkness, right? They could have like the whole environment be dark, like pitch black, except for the area where the flashlight illuminates, and that makes it to where you're only using like 5% of the real estate you have on screen in reality. The older games were this way. But now, because we can showcase light in different ways, the light bouncing off the walls, different variations of darkness, right? Like, it's really dark over here. It's dark enough that you can't really read or maybe even see the color of certain things that might be on the sides here. But you can clearly see what's been lit, because that's how your eyes work, right? And then you can't see stuff that's really far away that's really dark and not illuminated. So, I mean, this is a greater depth and greater portrayal of light and darkness and color, because, you know, color becomes absent in darkness. So I don't know, it's going to be really cool exploring this place and not being like total darkness. Like, we're actually going to be able to see stuff. This is the puzzle with the teddy bear and the needle that we need to use for something. Use it as a hook. I like that they didn't spoil the puzzle in this trailer. It's really cool. So yeah, obviously shotgun, ammo. It was clear to see, but they didn't highlight it. It wasn't flashing. They didn't use the yellow paint. You know that you can open that locker because we saw the circle. That was cool. Quick UI element showed up showing he's got 3 rounds in the gun. Right? Oh, the way she got back up. The head twitching. That's on point. It's very accurate. Oh, dude, I didn't even see this the first time, but watch the window. Watch the window on the right. You'll see a nurse move by. I like that. That's very subtle. Right there. Yep. Treatment room. Yeah, I think they've captured like the art style, the design. Adding the bugs adds a different element of horror. Searching the environment, you know, looking for stuff. Got the drain, there's clearly something there. They didn't spoil the puzzle. Different enemies traverse in a multitude of different ways. Okay. Yeah, I like that they didn't spoil anything. They showed stuff enough to get returning players excited, but also enough to intrigue new players without spoiling large portions of the game for them. There's Laura and her
Laura,
teddy bear.
why do you keep running away from me? And how do you know about Mary?
Mary's my friend. We met at the hospital last year.
Stop lying. Laura, I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Fine! Don't believe me! See if I care!
Hey!
Let go!
I'm sorry, Laura, but I can't let you just run around this place. You might get hurt.
Hurt by what?
Look, just stay with me, okay? This is no place for a kid.
This is interesting because, once again, this scene implies something from the original game. This is no place for a kid. Can she see the monsters that James sees? Is she oblivious to it? Do they not attack her? What does that mean? Why is she here? Is she a manifestation of something? Is she real? Or is she someone else that just happens to be lost here like Angela?
Stay with me, okay? This is no place for a kid.
Fine. But there's something I gotta get.
Laura,
It's important.
what is it?
I like that. I like the subtle twist of his jaw. You see that? He's like, should I play along with this? Watch. Right there. Right there.
What is it?
What is it?
A letter.
So,
Something I gotta get.
stuff that is so intricate and so small that you couldn't portray this in facial capture back then, right? The tech was not as sophisticated as it is now. So yeah, the capture of both of these actors is
There's something I gotta get.
really good.
It's important.
What is it?
A letter. For Mary.
What?
I hid it. In there.
You sure this is where you left it?
It's in the back. Behind an old pipe.
Okay, wait here. Open the door, Laura.
Why should I? I'm a liar, right? Want me to open it? Huh? Do ya?
Let me out of here, you little brat!
In your dreams, fart face.
Please open the door.
I love it.
There's something in here.
Sure there is. A big lying fart face. See ya, fart face!
Laura! Laura!
The scene has so much more drama and tension. It's very well done. My question is, I wonder how well does this moment, how well does that transfer into combat? Like, as soon as this happens, does the camera pull back and then we're immediately in control of James? Like, I think games that know how to, I mean, not that every game has to be like God of War and Spider-Man, all these other games where it feels like the whole game is in one continuous shot, or where it just seamlessly, there's no load screen, there's nothing after this, there's no cut to black. It's like it pulls back and then you're in control of the character. When I play new games that don't have that, or even if I like replay old games that kind of don't have that, I really take notice. It's a feature that I really love in modern gaming. So wherever it's accessible and whenever it can be done, it is so awesome and so immersive to really transition those cutscenes right to gameplay. So we'll see. But I like the way they ended that. They didn't show too much. I don't think they need to show much more on this game. I know they're probably going to show a little more, but probably nothing as long as this. I mean, this is a lot of information. But yeah, you can check out Silent Hill 2 October 8th, 2024, PS5 and Steam. It's up for pre-order. I will be covering it on the channel, so you'll definitely see me either live streaming it on YouTube, TikTok, making shorts, short form content, and TikToks and stuff like that. I will be very excited. I'm going to do multiple playthroughs. I want to see different endings. I think the first playthrough will keep everything spoiler free, and I'll try not to spoil anything from the original game. As I play this the first time, I want it to just be, just let us focus on what the original, what story they're trying to tell. I don't want to be like endlessly critiquing and comparing. I want to enjoy the game for what it is. And then maybe the second playthrough, I could sort of, talk about like what's happening and and maybe do some of the comparison stuff and talk about what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy, and maybe feed into some of the lore and really make that the spoiler cast, lore cast of just talking about all that. We'll save that for the second playthrough. But yeah, October 8th, and then I think there's early access, 48-hour early access on the deluxe edition, so I'll probably be playing this October 6th, guys. So once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video out, ring that notification bell so you do not miss out on future videos. Thank you for tuning into this. This was really cool, doing a deep dive, an analysis, a gameplay breakdown of all the Silent Hill 2 remake footage we've seen, going into the article and, just sort of pulling all the information we can about what we have so far for this series. I'm very excited. This is one of my favorite games, and I just can't wait to be able to play this. So, once again, thank you all. Take care, be safe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.